If you go into HellBlade 2 looking for a demonstration of facial slash motion capture for future video games, then you're going to find something that you'll enjoy. But if you go into the video game of HellBlade 2 and looking for an evolution or even anything different from the first game, you're going to be, like me, incredibly disappointed. So let's start with the graphics. Incredibly beautiful game, but shockingly, it isn't the best looking game this generation, even though we've been sort of conditioned to believe that. Don't get me wrong, amazing looking game and at times completely breathtaking, but it does not leapfrog other great games so far this generation when it comes to just graphics. And that's something that I think is really important to touch on, because the graphics in this video game are it reminds me almost of the old days with the pre-rendered backgrounds. Everything looked fantastic, but we knew that nothing was really going on in the background. You couldn't really interact with anything. And when you look at these vistas, yes, everything looks fantastic, but when you factor in exactly where you're going to be playing the video game, it's an incredibly narrow experience. You're literally walking in a straight line from the beginning of this game until the end. And yes, things look great off in the distance, but the idea of exploring, the idea of walking around this environment and visiting different locales, finding side quests, stuff like that, none of that happens in this game. There's no evolution from the first game. Everything that you've seen and you've done in HellBlade 1, you're going to do again when it comes to talking just about gameplay. And that's where I think the biggest failing of this game lies. I went into this knowing that it was going to be a continuation of something, so they're going to stay true to the themes and the overall presentation, the storytelling, but an evolution in what you're doing isn't something I think was far-fetched to think they would try to do. This is literally the first game. I've played for hours so far. I've done one of those looking puzzles, but everything that I have been doing has been walking in a straight line, pressing up on the left stick, getting into a fight, one enemy at a time, over and over and over again, and then a non-interactive cutscene that fades into gameplay, and I'm pressing up on the left stick again and walking through beautiful environments that are incredibly narrow, and that's about it. I'm not sure if I'm being too hard on this game or not, but I expected at least something different in the gameplay department. Maybe try and flesh this out a bit. And if you're just looking for a continuation of HellBlade 1, if you're the type of person that doesn't believe that anything needs to change in the sequel to a video game, absolutely nothing, then you will be absolutely happy. But as somebody who's played countless new IPs and then the sequel to those new IPs over the years of playing video games, I've always expected something different, not just better graphics, but an actual evolution in what I'm doing. And the gameplay is just not the star here. And that's the real problem, because we're talking about a video game, and I feel like they forgot the game part, really focused in on the video part. I want to stress though, the game is beautiful, and at times the way that the camera works, where you're watching the non-interactive in-engine cutscenes and then the camera sort of pans back or forwards and pushes you right into gameplay. It's just when we get to those gameplay sections, when we get to the meat, there's not much different from the first game, and there's certainly nothing new to this game to make you feel like, you're really playing a video game, as opposed to just going along on this journey and occasionally pressing one or two buttons. It's more about packaging than it is about substance, and that's the real shocker for me, going from the first game to this one. I feel like we always hear people talk about unfair expectations when it comes to Microsoft/Xbox games, and I feel like those unfair expectations are real, but they're caused by Microsoft, not some hate for Xbox, not some hate for creatives in the industry. And again, this isn't created underneath of Microsoft. They were working on this game, but I feel like if you're going to make horrible decisions, if you're going to close studios, if you're going to say a really great game in Hi-Fi Rush just isn't what you want or what you need, and then follow up with something like the sequel to HellBlade, you should expect it to be at least much different from the first game, or at least evolve the things that's going to ask gamers to do while they're playing the game. So if that doesn't happen, then those unfair expectations become even more of a burden for this game to carry. And it is a shame, because I feel like, as this developer demonstrates, they've got a real grasp of storytelling and a real grasp of presentation, but there wasn't that push to give me or you, the gamer, something really great to do in the game beyond what we've already done. And what is the point of these large sweeping vistas that look incredible if we're funneled into these really narrow corridors going from point A to point B to point C and then the end? I'll put it this way: there's more gameplay in the Order 1886 actual gameplay than HellBlade 2. You're playing the game now. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching this video. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 if I had to, pushing it an 8. A little bit disappointed. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.